show. All right, we restarted the stream, Riddle. See if we can get some people in here.
And maybe next year, just something different. Maybe do only top 25 matchups, or that on the spread. Instead of doing like UNLV Nevada. Hell, I mean that's just padding stats at that point.
Yeah, 100%. Whatever we can do to.
I mean, it's just we'll have to figure it out. It's something to there's a lot of time between now and next September to hone this part of it.
Yeah, we start out, man. Like I said, I guarantee you, we'll shoot up real quick. With
I got a
viewers
segment for the off season kind of planned out, and it's going to be a trivia thing for y'all.
Nice.
No, that'd be
That'd
good.
Be fun.
No, that's what we got to do. We got to figure it out.
I love that kind of shit. I got to encyclopedia.
Tony must have just said fuck it and went to bed.
No, he didn't. He had to turn that off. But
Jordan, I can't wait to light cut off any minute.
You were talking about that Georgia Tech game when you picked it. Those things that I found in that series, the fact that Georgia's never won 8 in a row against Georgia Tech. They're on a 6-game win streak right now.
I mean, those are things that make a rivalry like that, though.
And Georgia Tech's last 3 wins are all in Athens. So I thought that was very interesting.
That makes it a dangerous spot. I don't think Georgia Tech wins by any stretch, but I mean,
Swaggy.
Right.
If weird shit happens, it would happen.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Swaggy said, how about them dogs? Got our resident Georgia fan sitting up there.
Love what they're doing as of late. Didn't like the defense. Didn't like the defense against UMass. I thought that they really came out flat and allowed way too many big plays in that game for my liking. But they're in a prime position, and if they can correct the things that I've complained about all year, they could make a run at this national championship.
Let's see here.
They very much so could.
Here we go. I think coaches should be able to challenge calls. Yeah, I talking about some of the penalties and stuff that like that covered up. I think that would be a good idea. This is coming from Purple, by the way. That'd be a good idea.
Oh, yeah. No.
But I just don't know what the SEC is going to do because they don't want to admit they're wrong. I do know for a fact that Kalen DeBoer is talking to the league about that call. They're not going to admit anything. We all know that. But that was about as bad as I've seen. That was about as bad as I've seen this year.
So earlier in October, we actually – one of our topics that we discussed on this podcast was SEC officiating and officiating as a whole. And I took a quote from Joel Klatt on that day, and it was the UFL and how they have that super challenge. And it's just one challenge per game. Yeah, strictly based on a call. It could be a hold, a pass interference, the covered up call. But it's one super challenge.
Yeah, win, lose, or draw, you get that one.
For an officiated call. And that's one of the things that Joel Klatt has said, that because I do listen to his podcast.
High tide.
Yeah, it's a low tide this week.
That commercial cracks me up every time. Sorry, Jeff.
No, you're good. I think that's one thing Joel Klatt said.
I agree. That'd
be great. Yeah.
I mean, because let's be honest, Alabama didn't look good at all.
Thank you for sharing, G.
But a play like that could change the whole outlook of that game moving forward.
That was an absolutely incredible catch that I would be willing to say, after seeing him do it, he might be one of the only wide receivers in the nation that could have made that catch.
Oh, yeah.
No,
it was that impressive.
Purple just references the other platform. Purple just it's just the other platform. TikTok is weird about things.
They boot you for anything.
So Swaggy says Georgia's ranked 154th for getting calls against opponents the last I've seen. I don't know about those stats. I don't know about that. I mean, but thank you for sharing the live.
If you ask a Tennessee fan, they're going to disagree with you.
Thank you for sharing the live.
I mean, the thing about that, like a stat like that, is it's real subjective to who's deciding which way calls win.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't just Georgia, and I'm just saying in general, that's a hard stat to be like a hard and fast rule.
Just want to throw this out there because it was something we covered, because I've got my folder open. I've got everything that we've done so far this year in this folder. One thing that I have seen that has changed for the good is after Sankey sent out that email about the faking the injuries. You don't see that happening very much. I haven't seen
He
it
made
at
a
all.
point, and that point was received league wide.
Yes.
All right. So Swaggy said Colby Young back will definitely help us make that natty run for Georgia.
That is a receiver that early in the season he didn't do much. He was a transfer in. Then the allegations came out that he was facing, and now the person that I don't want to say too much on this.
DUI?
No, it was it was a domestic issue, and that has since been recanted by that person and wants all of it dropped. Take that as you will, but he has been
bullshit. But
he has been practicing with the team. He is trying to get back up.
The Sean Oakman incident
could actually be a huge X factor down the stretch if he gets back into game shape for us, because that's going to open up a lot of things. If there's another guy out there you got to be worried about that can actually make plays. So I am excited for that one. I haven't really touched on it yet because he's not back to where he needs to be to play in any game right now.
I don't. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I was just going to say he maybe. I don't even think he would be ready to play in garbage time this weekend. So, but it could be huge down the stretch in these big games.
All right, so
let's be honest. This late November, he probably doesn't get to game position, but you'll have packages for him in big spots. Red zone packages where that just throws you another weapon. Where instead of him out there running, 30 plays, 40 plays a game, it might be 10 or 15, but it'll be saved for moments when he can still make a big difference.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody that's in here, please tap that screen. Try to share the live out. We got to build this room up if we're going to get any viewers in here and be able to discuss anything. Like I said, right now we got a.
And they didn't got any college football guys. You can ask live advice. I'll give you advice on anything.
Yeah. So how do you think on the purple? How do you think loss and injury hurts the Bama defense? Well, I think Jefferson's going to step in, and he's going to be able to play. Is he going to play the same level as Deontay Lawson? No. But should we really need Deontay Lawson when we're going against Auburn? No. But Alabama, it's we don't know what to expect from them week to week. So South Carolina's better than Bama to deserve the playoff spot. They got beat by Bama though. So
and the wings, Brandon.
Yeah. Yeah.
More down.
Yeah. Thank you for the follow, Alex Big Nasty. Thank you for the follow. Like I said, we're going to try to shoot all the questions you got, guys. All the comments, all the bullshit. Throw it at us. Like I said, we want to try to get it. We want to get this chat rubbling.
Carolina's playing better. They look like a better team than Alabama.
Thank you for following, Lee.
But head to head, you lost that game, and this committee. This committee is weird. But I don't think you see Carolina jump Alabama when they have that head-to-head loss.
They really have put a huge emphasis on head-to-head when the records are the same. And
to an extent,
but like when the SEC was jumbled up last week, even though everybody still considered Georgia playing the better ball and being the better team, they were ranked lower than Alabama and Ole Miss because of those head-to-heads. So. That was something me and Brandon talked about before we went live earlier, is that even if South Carolina does beat Clemson, I don't think they jump into it over Alabama. So
here's a lot of questions coming in the chat here. So South Carolina is in if they win this weekend. They'd have to win. They'd have to win huge, and like we just talked about, that means they'd be jumping a team that beat them head to head. Bama can't stop
that. It would have to be like a 56-3, like just an absolute throttling. And there would still need to be some help to make that thing.
And that's the thing, is there's going to be some help up there. I do believe lost teams going to get in. And then the committee's going to. They will.
Unless it gets real crazy.
Well, you're talking about
crazy. You're not wrong.
There's too many 3-loss teams sitting there, and too many teams above them still have to lose. Like, this is what the committee has done all year. Every rankings they come out with, they've backed themselves into a corner. And now, so let me pull these rankings up real quick.
You're not wrong.
South Carolina's bad losses to LSU too. Don't forget about that.
Right.
I'm gonna kill the video. I got to use the bathroom quick. I'll be right back.
Right. You've got Ole Miss sitting at 14, Alabama at 13, both with 3 losses. South Carolina's 15 with 3 losses, and you have Arizona State, Tulane, and Iowa State right behind them. A&M sitting there at 20 with 3 losses. There is avenues because SMU, Miami, or Clemson, one of them's going to lose. If not two of them. If Clemson loses this weekend, then SMU and Miami's going to have to take another loss. Georgia and Texas or Texas A&M are going to play in the SEC championship game. That's an avenue where another one of those teams is going to have to take another loss. Oregon and Ohio State are playing again, but with them sitting at 1-2, the loser of that's not going to fall very far. If Ohio State were to lose that and be a 2-loss team, again, that's one of those situations where the committee is going to have to debate on where they put them because they've got Penn State sitting at 4 and Ohio State beat them on the field and didn't allow an offensive touchdown. So there is avenues for a 3-loss team to get in, but then the committee is going to have to determine who's the best 3-loss team in the nation.
So it says, plus they looked at lost to Bama. They lost by 2. It wasn't a thrashing. They scored a very late touchdown in that game to try to even make it close. Alabama was comfortably in the lead. You did score that late touchdown to get it close, and the onside kick failed. But yes, South Carolina was not in that game until the very, very end. So it wasn't a thrashing by any stretch of the imagination. They played very well, and they're a good football team.
It did take some craziness on that game.
We actually picked them. We picked them in that game.
I mean, we've given South Carolina their flowers. They're playing really good football right now, some of the best in the nation. So,
but if you're talking about Bama and who they lost to, 100% Bama's losses are worse than South Carolina's. I'll give you that 100%. Here goes. Is Jalen Milroe? Wyatt's back in the chat. He says, is Jalen Milroe playing anymore this season? Yeah, he'll play. They're going to let him finish the season. It's unfortunate. They're going to let him finish the season. And like I said, hopefully he goes off into the sunset. So here's Swampy Dog, Texas GA rematch or A&M GA SEC championship. You think A&M can beat Texas? Y'all go ahead.
Absolutely. That's why I picked them. I mean, Texas dominates that series in Austin, but in College Station, I mean, Texas has got my notes here. I mean, a 3-game advantage. Texas doesn't dominate this series in College Station like they do in Austin. I think if Reed plays well and doesn't turn the ball over, A&M is very much a live dog in this game.
Yeah, I picked A&M there on the podcast, and just looking at it, the one thing, everybody talks about Texas' schedule, and it has been favorable for them. Right. They've only played 4 road games this year, none against ranked opponents. That could be a key in this game. And the one thing that Texas does not do well, out of everything else that they do well, they are 13th in the SEC against the run, and A&M is second in the SEC rushing the football. A&M could exploit that, and if they do, and they control the clock, and they limit Texas's possessions, A&M could very much win this game, and I've actually picked them to win this game. And it's not just because I think they would be the easier of the 2 opponents matched up wise, because we dominated Texas at Texas, so I don't care which one of them wins it. I like it for Georgia.
All right, what if Kalen lost on purpose to play in the SEC and mud drags Auburn? If he decided to do that, which I do not think he did, then that was an interesting strategy, because that's
very
stupid.
Much so.
That's stupid. I don't think that happened.
You're banking on a lot of help in that situation.
I don't think that happened.
I would personally, if I was a coach, I would not bank on.
Bama,
that was dumb.
Justin, you're assuming they lost to Vandy in Oklahoma. I'm just telling you, South Carolina's got to jump Ole Miss and Alabama. Both teams beat them head to head. It's going to be a long, long shot for South Carolina to jump.
Right before we go back, I just saw this comment. I just want to touch on this real quick because I saw it and I thought it was very interesting. After Georgia plays Georgia Tech this weekend, and Swaggy P just said it, he made a comment about it. There is a route to where the SEC championship game is in Atlanta. Georgia could pull the Peach Bowl in the playoffs, which will be in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, have 3 home games.
And then the national championship game is also in Atlanta. So there is a route where Georgia never leaves the state the rest of the year.
Well, they will for 1 game.
Yeah. Not if they host the first round.
All right.
I'm talking about the semifinal.
All right.
The first round, the second round, the Peach Bowl. The third round, the semifinal could be
right.
I think it's like Houston and somewhere else, but then they come right back to Atlanta.
So they'd have Georgia Tech.
Great path for them.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, the SEC championship game, the Peach Bowl, and then the national championship game. So if they can make it, 4 of their next 5 games would be in the state of Georgia, which is huge.
Okay, so he said Wyatt said it's probably root beer. in your
What?
mug.
What
What's your
is?
prediction for LSU, Oklahoma?
Is that motor oil?
I'm actually going to take LSU. I don't think Oklahoma is that good of a team. I just think Bama sucks. So
I think Oklahoma is absolutely riding a high. And is that game at Oklahoma? I haven't looked at that one yet.
No, it's at LSU.
Oh
At
yeah.
night. Death Valley at night.
That's a whole different animal. The only team that went in there and put a stop to that was Alabama, and LSU. I'm telling you what, LSU is something is bad wrong down there.
Yeah.
Bad wrong. And I'm telling you, if Oklahoma's defense, which has been pretty good all year, their offense has been what struggled. If their defense plays like they do against Alabama and can put some points up and shorten the field for them drives, Oklahoma could win that game, and it wouldn't surprise me at all.
touch on them losses. Touch on them how them
Man,
losses
you
5-5
get into that.
team. What?
Who is he referring to? Who are you referring to, Bradley? That lost to a 5-5.
He's talking about Bama. He's just talking about Bama.
yeah.
He's just trying to argue.
Oh, yeah.
No one
Nobody
said
said they're a playoff team.
No one
It
said
would
they're a
take
playoff
it would
team.
take a small miracle.
Yeah, no one said that. We had some good, decent wins, and we had some shitty losses. No one has said they're a playoff team. I can't help where the playoff committee puts them. Let's see here. Someone said go Big Orange. You got a couple of Tennessee fans for sure that'll agree with you.
Who said that? That's Dane. That's Dane on on St. Crew. That's right, Dane.
Yeah, there you go, Dang. Jackson Dart can't handle the pressure. It doesn't seem like. Thank you for following, Alex. We appreciate you. What is this? Coots and Colorado National Tart. I don't even know what that is. Dane, that's right. Hey, Dane, how are you, brother? Let's see here. Did you see where Bama? Wyatt says, did you see where Bama has cost $350,000 in fines for teams storming the field? Oh, yep. The record is still alive, boys. The record's still alive.
Oklahoma said they were glad to pay that. Should
I'm
the
sure they
SEC shorts?
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
Here,
Go ahead.
sorry. Here, there's a
Yeah, he's frozen.
X.com, Twitter, what it used to be. There's an account I like to follow on there. I don't do much pimping other people's stuff, but Pick Six Previews, at Pick Six Previews. The guy puts out some really good stuff. I don't know, it looks like my TikTok is frozen. Anyway, he put this out, top offensive lines for getting a push on the run, basically in the Power Four. He always does it Power Four. You know who has the best offensive line right now as far as a run line in the Power Four?
No.
Notre Dame.
I could see that.
You'll never guess. I promise you'll never guess 2 and 3. And this is opponent adjusted. I mean, if you don't, obviously more weight for better teams.
No, I don't know.
Number 2, Miami.
Okay.
That's a shocker to me. And in Central Florida.
Okay.
Of course, and don't get me wrong, like I say, here's his other list. This is just top offenses, a period, opponent adjusted per play. Number 1 offense in that situation is Miami, which hard to argue with. They've had some big offensive moments down the stretch.
Okay. Here he said.
So I know it's kind of random, but it popped up a notification on Twitter for it. This guy usually has some pretty good information.
So here we go. Y'all said Ole Miss was a playoff team and Florida was the other 5-5 team. We did not say Ole Miss was a playoff team. We did not say Alabama was a playoff team. You or other people have said that South Carolina beats Clemson. They're in. We're simply telling you that they're not going to jump 2 teams that beat them on the field head to head. It's not going to happen.
If Ole Miss wins out, they were a playoff team.
Yeah, 100%.
His
argument is they lost to a 5-5 team this week. We did too. Why are they in the playoffs? We're not saying they're in the playoffs. We're saying if South Carolina were to jump them, they would be jumping 2 teams that they lost to head to head.
Yes,
and that would be huge. That'd be huge for the committee.
As far as that goes, blame the committee on that for backing themselves into a hole.
Yeah.
Here's one y'all might find interesting. Just a kind of a space filler. These are the top defenses, top overall defenses in Power 4, opponent adjusted per play. At number 10 is Ole Miss. Number 9 is a surprise to me. maybe to y'all, maybe not. Number 9 is Oregon. I just don't think of a solid defense when I think of Oregon. Now, part of that might be schedule related.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Georgia. Not a surprise. Number 7, South Carolina. Not a surprise. We've said that Carolina, that defense has kind of carried them all year to where they're at.
Yes.
Number 6, this is one I kind of have an issue with, and I think it might be more opponent related. But number 6 is Penn State. What I've watched of Penn State, that defense does not impress me. But granted, they lost their only game to a team of the Pulse and beat Illinois by 7, and that was in Happy Valley, right?
Yes, Ohio State.
Yeah, Illinois was at Penn State, I think. Round out the top, number 5, Notre Dame. Number 4, Oklahoma. Not really a surprise, considering Venables is there. Your top 3 is Tennessee, 2 is Texas, 1's Ohio State. I don't think anybody will disagree with those. Somebody might, but I just don't see it.
Swaggy's speaking facts in the chat.
What's he got?
I'm just going to pick this one up. Joe, they were talking about Beck, and then Joe said it was either stop throwing picks or lose his spot. We talked about that earlier this year. He still gave us the best chance to win as bad as he was playing. He has corrected that over the last 2 weeks. He's not thrown any picks. So that's been huge. And one of those was against Tennessee, who I do believe has one of the best defenses in the nation. And then he said Georgia's biggest problems on defense is the DBs. What have I been saying all year? They get out of position. They've been beat. And I don't know. You would think I don't want to say sometimes it's looked like they thought they had help over the top and they haven't. But then there's sometimes, and it was one guy that got benched immediately in the Tennessee game. He continues to get beat and just never looks for the ball. And that's the thing is you've got to look for the ball at some point. And he just has not done that all year. And he got benched. So I was actually glad to see that. And Georgia rolled in that game. But Swaggy's not wrong on what he's been saying.
Hey, real quick.
He knows who I'm talking about. He's watched the same thing I have.
He's seen it, dog. He's seen it.
I'm not going to throw any Georgia player under the bus
whatsoever. I know this is kind of off topic. I'm sure we'll do more college basketball once the football season's over. Top 25 today in college basketball. San Diego State. Not only do they upset number 21 Creighton, they do it impressively. 71-53, San Diego State. Oregon knocks off number 20 Texas A&M, 80-70. Both of those are in the Players Era Festival tournament. So upset city out there.
All right.
Kentucky wins 87-68. No surprise. For the second time this week, UConn goes down. Colorado beats UConn at the Maui Invitational 73-72. Alabama with a big overtime win in the Players Festival. I don't know what the spread was. Might have been an upset against number 6 Houston, 85-80. I'm sure Brandon was keeping up with that one.
I think it was 4 points. Houston.
Yeah, the ESPN says 85-80.
No, I mean it was 4 point spread, I think.
Oh, the spread. Okay, I'm sorry. This year in basketball, watch out for Dayton. Dayton has pushed Iowa State here. 18 seconds left. 18 seconds left. It's a 4-point Iowa State, number 5 Iowa State lead. Dayton gave North Carolina it was up 21 late. Carolina come back and won that game. And then currently Kansas and Duke. Duke is up 67-65 with 5:52 to go. Swaggy, Carolina played the late game in Maui.
Swaggy, always cool for kids to get their picture made with a player on the field. I mean, that's something that she'll probably remember for the rest of her life. But try for a better one next time.
Hey, we had a pretty cool game last year, Jeff, at that MTSU game with
the field passes.
That was a pretty cool. Last year we were all off. I know those in the chat don't know, the same week, and me and Tony and Jeff. Of course, me and Jeff took our kids, my two and Jeff's daughter, to the MTSU game, and a random guy gave us field passes. That was really a really cool experience for the kids. My daughter, she was going to cheer camp. She had to take a picture with the cheerleaders. My son thought it was the greatest thing ever. He was pulling for Louisiana Tech because he's a lover of dogs, and so the Bulldogs versus the Blue Raiders was no contest to him.
Oh, so he's going to be a Georgia fan. That's good. I'll start buying him some gear. I'll start buying him some gear.
No, he'll wind up in like reform school or something. More than that.
Bart, we're gonna write it down. We'll flag it in the chat for you, brother. He said, "I'm telling you, write it down." I said, "If South Carolina beats Clemson, Bama's in." We'll write it down for you.
I just want to get back to Swaggy.
That makes that Bama win look better. So he may not be wrong. Bama could sneak in with 3 losses.
Yeah, Swaggy. That would have been really cool to get Bex. Most of this stuff back here is signed, and I've got some more stuff that I don't have out right now that's signed. But yeah, anytime you can get an autograph from somebody on your favorite team, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. Jeff's got a lot of helmets that you can't see in the video right now.
Yeah. Okay, so
I have an Alabama one though.
You don't have an Alabama?
No, because all their shit's way too overpriced.
I think Troy even has an Alabama. I know he has like a Michael Sam, I think, from Missouri.
The only Alabama one I would want is Derrick Henry, and his helmets are very, very expensive.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all don't see the shirt UT orange. You know, the real UT wears Pantone 151C, baby. But if I had to pick a player that I absolutely love, and man, y'all can do this if you want, from a rival, I know this will make Brandon smile. Mine would be Derek Thomas.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's my favorite.
You got it. Yeah,
a little bit before my time, but like YouTube, I love the way him and Reggie White had a lot of the same approach to playing defense, and of course, it was a different era. You know, he may not be the same player today because the way the rules are. I mean, I'm all for player safety, but still, some of these rules are a little excessive. But if I had to pick, somebody from a rival, it would be Derek Thomas. If I had to pick somebody from Georgia, it would be Champ Bailey. That dude was fun to watch play, especially in the NFL. He was
had a guy in the chat. Had a guy in the chat tell us where we could meet Champ Bailey. That's one that's on the bucket list. My favorite Georgia player of all time is David Pollock, and I actually have his helmet, a mini helmet signed by him too. So,
what are the odds that the Big 12 does not get a team in the playoff?
Actually, with the way these standings came out tonight, that is actually a very high possibility. Tulane is one spot behind. He had something come up.
Okay.
Tulane is one spot behind the highest ranked Big 12 team. So if there's some more chaos in the Big 12, Tulane could take that 5th highest ranked conference champion.
I mean, you could have Boise and Tulane get in.
Absolutely. It's very possible.
Hey, and I mean, no somewhat disrespect to the Big 12, but I know Jeff's dying with his phone popping.
God, yeah.
But I promise you, my stand's supposed to be here over the weekend / first of the week. So if I ain't got it Saturday, I'll have it next Wednesday.
Use your imagination, Dane. Use your imagination.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, Jordan. I'm going to cut you off real quick because I just got this breaking news from baseball. This is a baseball thing for us. Blake Snell is in an agreement on a 5-year, $182 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
All right.
Hey, get paid, young man. Team. You ain't going to win, but get paid.
Go to a real team. All right. Let's see here. Bart says, I've got a signed Sean Alexander, but Derek Thomas is my favorite. He's my favorite player, too. I've got a lot of signatures from Alabama. I just don't have them up. But okay, let's see here.
I'll pull out 2 of my big expensive ones real quick.
How y'all going to feel 3 weeks from now when Bama is out and Georgia is out after losing? So Georgia, JJ, we talked about this in nauseum. Georgia's not going to be out if they lose the SEC title game. They're going to put them in. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. you might as well just go ahead and plan on it. Josh Pate and Reese Davis have all said the same thing. They said that the committee is not going to put out the team that loses a championship. They're not going to hold that against them unless it's a complete blowout, like an utter dismantling. And the reason for that is they'd be the number 2 team in the SEC, and they're not going to leave them out and have somebody sitting around not playing and get in above that team. So that's not going to happen, I don't think. Now, Bama probably is out. So, I'm a Bama fan. We lost our opportunity this past weekend.
I mean, you're not wrong with that. Alabama.
Right now, we're out.
Those teams, if they got in, I like their chances to cause problems, especially matchup wise for teams. But, you got to go Norman and win that game if you're Alabama.
Yeah, and they did. So that's all. That's
and they didn't. And it wasn't like it was, a bad call here or one misplay there. They just got flat out outplayed.
Yeah, we were outcoached.
Like you've said all year, Milrose either hit or miss, and he was missed and never had a chance to get back to the hit category.
Yeah.
So
he plays in spurts. Yeah.
So Jordan and Brandon, these are probably my 3 favorite non-Georgia signed helmets. And this one first. Probably not going to be able to see the signature on it because of the lighting in here.
Pretty glowing.
That's Deion Sanders on Florida State. This one, Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
Oh, yeah, Randy Moss.
Randy, buddy. I remember when he had his helmet painted that year and they were trying to kick him off the team.
And then Peyton Manning on Tennessee.
I mean, the GOAT.
That's good.
Those are probably my 3 favorite. Now, I do have a Heisman case, too, and it's just nothing but Heisman winners in there. Some of them not as well known, but I tried to get some teams like LSU. I got Billy Cannon. I think he was there back in the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
George Rogers at South Carolina. I got that helmet. Got some Oklahoma guys, some USC guys.
I remember when you were buying all those across eBay and stuff.
Tim Tebow on Florida, Danny Wuerffel. I got quite a few in there, but those 3 are probably my 3 favorite: Deion, Randy, and Peyton.
What? One thing I noticed tonight, of course, digging up all that for the Alabama-Auburn game, I thought that was a pretty cool stat. Auburn being 6-0 all time in Tuscaloosa without Saban under. But Saban was 12-5 against Auburn. And I know Brandon's going to hate this, but Fat Phil was 12-5 against Alabama during his time on the hill.
Yep, but Nick Saban
really
retired him.
Rivalry games have such a close, record wise.
Nick Saban's 6-6 team, regular season, went in and beat Fat Phil 41-17, and that was the beginning of the end for him. That was the beginning of the end for. I was at that game. The
beginning of the end for Fat Phil was against Saban, that LSU SEC championship game. Eric Ames throws a pick 6 down there to lose that game 21-14. That was, the next year they stumble and then they fire him and then we lose to fucking Wyoming of all people.
So here we go. Let's see here. See here. It says, as long as Ohio State doesn't win, I don't care who wins the national title. And then Swaggy says, Ryan Day can't win big games. Probably not wrong there.
Here you go. I'm a trivia for you.
He's not wrong, but Ryan Day wins big games better than James Franklin.
Brian Urlacher.
I don't think Jordan was paying attention. Yeah, that's Brian Urlacher on the New Mexico State.
When you had New Mexico State, I was like, there's only a handful of people that could be.
There's a Bryce Ferris that just joined the live. You're not kin to Bobby Ferris, are you?
Oh, Lord.
If you are, you have my condolences.
So Kias wants to know, better QB, Brady or Peyton?
All time, which era? What are you going with?
Let's just. I'm gonna say. I'll say it this.
All time.
I'm gonna say. I'm a big Peyton Manning fan. I think he's the most exciting quarterback I've ever watched play. But if you're gonna talk about the best quarterback, I'm gonna go with Brady. Rings do matter. Rings do matter.
Absolutely. Until Brady went to Tampa, I would argue it was Peyton. That Brady was a benefactor of a good system for him in New England. But, I mean, you go to 2 teams. Don't get me wrong, Peyton went to 2 different teams and won, but a lot of that Denver title was based on that defense. I mean, hell, that defense got Tim Tebow a fucking win. Hey, Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler.
Smoking Jay Cutler. And this one's going to be a little bit harder, but I got this one because this guy was one of my all-time favorite tight ends because I'm a tight end guy.
Can't see it, Sam. Arizona State, tight end, Arizona State.
I don't know.
I'm going to have to, I can't say good enough. I'll have to call a blank on that one. Go ahead. Tell us.
Todd Heap.
Okay. All right.
Love that guy back in the day.
User says, how is Alabama at 13? Because the committee put them there. Listen, I'm a Bama fan. We don't deserve the playoffs. We had our shot and we blew it, but that's where the committee put them, so that's where they are.
Let's be honest. Alabama is at 13, and no offense, Brandon, but I know you know this. Alabama is at 13 because of their recent history and because of the brand.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. Alabama has more bandwagon fans than anybody at the time.
Yeah,
and that's subject to change in the next couple of years, especially with Saban being gone. But I mean, it's because of the brand. It's because of the money that name brings in.
Brand matters. I mean, brand matters.
Absolutely.
I'd take Alabama over the horrible Indiana team. I mean, yeah, I would take Alabama over Indiana right now. And I don't think Alabama's a good football team. I have no respect for some of these teams in these conferences. I just have no respect for them. I don't think they understand.
Let's be honest. Indiana is pretty much half of James Madison the last 2 years. Were they a good team? Yeah, they're a good team, but they're not ready to compete for a national title. And let's be honest, a lot of seniors, that'll be interesting to see with them giving Cignetti that deal. And trust me, I think he's worth it. Yeah. I think Cignetti is a hell of a coach. Like you said earlier, a few episodes ago, when he leaves, it won't be for a big job. It'll be for the right big job.
No kiss. I don't.
But let's see what kind of team he builds next year with a lot of these guys that he's depended on are gone. And then we'll draw a judgment on what he can really do in Indiana.
So I was just going to touch on User there. He said if A&M wins out, South Carolina beats Clemson, but Clemson wins the ACC, SC could have beaten two teams with buys. Clemson's only route to the ACC, I believe, is if Miami loses to Syracuse this weekend.
Yeah.
Nothing they do hinges on whether they go to that title game or not. It all depends on Syracuse. And I don't see... I mean, Syracuse is 8-3. They're at home. Being in the Dome, I think, could help them, but I just think Cam Ward's going to be too much for that. And then you're going to get SMU and Miami in the ACC championship game.
There you go.
In the chat, real quick, I'll let y'all touch this too. Dane, great question, Dane. Do you think Saban will come back to coach anywhere?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
What does he have to prove at the college level? Nothing. He's too old to try to win a Super Bowl. I mean, I think, honestly, you watch him on game day, for a guy that doesn't go in the booth at all, he looks like he's having way too much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
To ever take the headache of coaching, especially in the NIL era. I mean, that's essentially what drove him out. I mean, he was like, he's smart enough to know that changes have to be made, but he wasn't willing to make them. And he's like, look, him and Miss Terry honestly are getting older.
Yeah.
This is the time you kick back, do game day, do what you love, laugh at Pat McAfee, have a big time, and then eat 2 oatmeal cream pies and go home.
So Swaggy says, I want to see Kirby versus Lanning in the Natty. It'll be a Saban versus Smart game. I think the way it plays out, I don't think they can play in the Natty though.
Oh, no, they can't.
I don't think.
Yeah, at the moment.
At the moment. If Georgia
wins the SEC, they can.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where.
Depends on where they get seeded.
It depends on the
fifth seed really. And the 1 seed are both on the top of the bracket. Georgia, if they win the SEC, will be in the bottom.
Right, and but it just depends on. They got Texas there at 2 right now, but Georgia, that would give Texas their second loss. Miami would, if they lost, they would have 2 losses, and then if Georgia wins the SEC, I could see them sliding up to that 2 seed for sure. Yeah. And then there would be a path for them to play in the national championship game. So yeah, if Georgia wins the SEC and takes care of business, then yeah, that's a possible outcome.
So honestly, regardless, if we can get that matchup, regardless of where it happens, America wins.
Yeah.
That will be one heck of a ball game. That'll be one hell of a chess match, honestly.
And it will not be like it was.
Be really boring. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, that first half could be really boring. Kind of both teams feeling each other out. Somebody might bust a big play. But that second half, that last 20 minutes of football could be, or the last 30 minutes of football could be really exciting.
All right.
I don't think that game plays out like 2022 at all.
No.
Kia says, "Hey Brandon, why has Chris been hiding from the smoke on the Purple Show? Chris's computer isn't working. He's not trying to hide.
He ain't hiding, I promise.
He's not.
He was in the chat earlier.
He was in the chat earlier. He was in the chat on TikTok earlier. Yes, but he's not hiding. I hate Alabama, but I honestly feel bad for DeBoer. He's done pretty good for where he's at. We had 26 people transfer out. You kind of got a team full of people that are more concerned about me than they are about the team, and I think that it's unfortunate. We had a really good team as far as talent goes, and we're just going to come up short. We're going to come up short this year. Maybe I do think he picked the wrong people for coordinators, but that's my opinion, so it doesn't matter much.
Well, I mean, and you may not be wrong on that, but let's be honest. It's hard to be the man that follows the man.
Yeah. Kudos to him for doing it.
I mean, hell, man's got some cojones for accepting that challenge.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of guys that wouldn't do that just because it's hard to do that. I mean, one of the greatest to ever do it. It's never hard to follow that up.
Yeah, you're never going to live up to expectations in a situation like that. You can't. It's impossible.
No. I mean, this is me personally, and don't take this the wrong way, Brandon. But if DeBoer makes it 5 years, personally, I think he's won in this situation.
Probably, yeah.
Just because of what the expectations are. If he can hold it together that long, I think he'll find long-term success at Alabama. But it's hold it through those first 5 years because there's going to be hiccups. The Vandy game this year, perfect example. Vandy was in a real, honestly, for them, a rare spot. Mm-hmm. And they pulled off an upset at home. It wasn't like they went to Tuscaloosa and won. They won at home.
Yeah.
Here's my opinion on that real quick, Brandon. College football has been around since the 1800s. Late 1800s. And up until Saban arrived on the scene, Bear Bryant was always considered the greatest coach of all time through the entire history of football. And it took, 50, 60 years for Saban to come along and then take the GOAT status away from him. There's a really good possibility that we're not alive if we ever see anything like this again. So,
you're right. You're right. Do you think Swaggy says?
Greatest.
Do you think Ryan Williams?
He never beat the general.
Oh Jesus!
Do you think Ryan Williams leaves? No, I've already said this. I've said this many times on a bunch of different. So Ryan Williams is already making $2.5 million in NIL, and he's not even 18 years old yet. So you need to understand, Alabama's put together a very good package for him. And with that said, he's a Bama fan, and that matters. So it's not like he's gonna not get the ball thrown to him. He's not going to sit here and he's going to be there. He's pretty much the star now. Like Riddle said, he's the best player on the team earlier. He's the star.
And I think that's what in this day and age of college football, I think the ones that went to Alabama to play for Saban have already left, and the ones that went to play for Alabama are going to stay and ride this out regardless of what happens. And that's like we said. Alabama and Saban during his tenure there set a bar so high that there's nobody else that's going to reach it. I mean, Georgia won back-to-back national titles. Kirby's got Georgia where they need to be, and they're competitive every year. But Kirby's not going to match what Saban did. I just don't think it's attainable. I mean, what Saban did there, and the expectations for Bama fans, they're unrealistic. I mean, you can't expect to only lose 1 or 2 games now that Saban's gone every year. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So a couple of things. So Kias on the Purple said, didn't his picks for offensive and defensive coordinator go somewhere else? Ryan Grubb went somewhere else.
Appreciate you. keeping the dream alive and well, my friend.
Ryan Grubb went somewhere else. He went to the Seattle Seahawks, and good for him for doing that. So he went somewhere else. But his defense, he picked the defense, and he just chose poorly. I mean, there's no other way to say it. With that said, Swaggy says, I can't believe Michigan paid Underwood that much money, and nobody around him to make a run. I can't believe it either, but I got a feeling this is probably
me either, Swaggy. I mean, you got a point.
This is the day and age. This is what we're going to do. And like we talked about, so the next quarterback the next year, thank you for following, Dane. The next quarterback next year is going to obviously want more. So, this
is my opinion on this deal. I mean, and I could be totally way off, but until the NCAA, and maybe they will, maybe they won't, set some levels to this of what you can make, which I don't know how they can, but you're going to get into a situation where, like, when Sam Bradford came to the draft, that was the last year that rookies got paid insane money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all remember, Sam Bradford ran that video game offense in Oklahoma, thank God he made me, he paid for a lot of my cases of beer, through those years. But I don't see how you're going to get a handle on this, but it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. You're right. The next guy's going to want more until, maybe Underwood's the guy. Maybe he's not. Maybe he flops.
Which
Problem
happens.
is, from my understanding, the way a lot of these NIL deals are set up, it's kind of guaranteed money. Or a lot of it, like, Tony likes to rag on Nico. But from my understanding, a lot of Nico's $8 million is based on what he does at the next level, compared to what he does in college. So going forward, this could be a pretty slippery slope, and there could be a lot of interesting things develop, moving forward out of this deal. Because at some point, if you're the NCAA, you got to cut the bidding war off.
Yeah. Let's see here. I've got some good stuff here. It says, this is the one I really just couldn't. Someone in the chat said Kirby is way better than Saban. That's user. That's just pure homerism there. I mean, Kirby's a great coach, but he's not there yet. So just calm down.
I mean, he's not there yet. Could he get there?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. He's got the best shot of anybody in college football.
You're right. That's homerism. That's way too early.
I mean, I feel it.
Sorry, any college basketball guys interested? That Kansas and Duke is went final. Kansas wins 75-72.
I talked about Kirby just a second ago, and I think he's the best coach in college football right now. But even though he is a Georgia alum and he is from Georgia and he is a Georgia guy, he learned from the best.
What's up, Jackson?
And if he gets to 7 national championships with Georgia, nobody's going to be happier than me. But the day and age of college football that we live in, I don't know if it's possible. I honestly don't.
If he gets to 7, Jeff, we can have an honest discussion about him being the best. Right. That would be 7 for one team. That would be easy to do that.
Time will tell.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. He's got 5 more to go.
He's got as good a shot as anybody in the country to do that. So I'll say that.
It's current. I love Coach Hype as a Tennessee guy. Of course, that's coming after, Derek Dooley and Butch Jones and the guy from Alabama. My mind is blanking. Come on, Brandon.
What? I don't know what. I'm reading the chat.
The coach from Alabama we had, McDonald's bag.
Pruitt.
Jeremy Pruitt. I'm sorry. I was completely blanking.
Yeah.
If it was those three, I love Heupel, but I don't know even if Coach Heupel is ready to make, to be in that conversation. He's got to win one first, and then we can kind of go from there. Kirby, that there was no conversation until Kirby won that first one, and then he got, another one. And so that's kind of where that goes.
So Braden said
in the chat, sorry, Jackson, you said you got some D1 basketball offers. Who are they, man? Talk to us.
Yeah, Jackson was here the other day with me. He actually subbed. Yeah, tell us who you are. But
I got by his name was sub.
Yeah,
and he got some D1, man. I mean, there's a lot of D1 teams that are Tennessee. Who's looking at you, man? Who's looking at you?
Yeah, let's see here. Jackson, while we're waiting on him, Jackson said, not Jackson, Braden said, what does Bama got to do to make playoffs? It would take a whole lot of people losing. First and foremost, Clemson's got
There's nothing they can do besides win Saturday.
Yeah, win Saturday.
As far as in their control, you got to beat Auburn.
Yeah,
none of the rest matters until you beat Auburn.
And as a Bama fan, we should really be striving for that because that'll get us to 9 wins. Then, if you were to win a bowl game, you'd have a 10-win season, which would be very good for DeBoer's first season. That'd be very good.
Absolutely. I mean, your first season taking over and you get 10 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you ask for?
Behind Saban,
I mean, let's be realistic. Did you think you had a shot to win the title to start the year? I mean,
no.
You knew you had a puncher's chance, but as far as a realistic, if things go bad, can we win? I mean, I think you would agree right now that this first year you're kind of in limbo. So, well, let's see what he's got, But I mean, you expect a playoff run just because the talent is there. But I mean,
let's see.
I don't know if y'all have read this yet. I'm reading it right now. That's why I'm being so quiet. There's an article that ESPN has put out on the college football playoff anger index, who should be the most angry in week 14. And this dude is hitting so many good points through this article. It's good to read. If you have time, go read it.
Couple things. Jackson, stay right there.
Swaggy says if we can get some. Sorry, go ahead.
Kia said, I love Nick Saban, but I thought Nick's mission was to fix the NIL. What progress he's made. He has met with Congress on this very issue. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's still it's up to the judicial system. It's actually much, much higher than just the universities. It was ruled on legally, so the only way it can get changed is to legally have it changed.
Swaggy said, y'all okay? Are y'all still there?
Yeah,
we're still here.
I lost video to everybody in my TikToks.
Yeah, we're
messing
here.
up. Swaggy says if we can get some Bama type QBs, we could be elite. Kirby doesn't get the dual threats. I mean,
you really want a Jalen Milroe? I mean,
well, I mean, let's be honest. Like I'm sitting here right now going, okay, how does Kirby miss? And Jeff can give us more insight to this. I know he owns, a better feel of Georgia recruiting than me and you do, Brandon.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're Georgia, why did you miss or why didn't you go after a guy like Philo at Georgia Tech who broke Trevor Lawrence's all his Georgia State passing records in high school? I mean, to me, that seems like that guy should be a lock in Athens as opposed to going to Atlanta, unless there's just some family ties or something weird there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I've been saying it for a long time on Kirby. His one knock is the evaluation of quarterbacks, because you had Fromm, who played over. Let's see, Easton played over. Was it Fromm? Anyway, but
they both played over Fromm. I can show you. I've got a hold down.
Yeah, but then you had Justin Fields sitting behind them, and he transferred out because he wasn't getting to play, and he was probably the best quarterback on the roster. And then you had Stetson Bennett, who proved to be nothing but a winner behind all of them. Went to junior college and then came back and won 2 national titles. Now, were those defenses of the teams he played for elite? Yes, but the offense was like a top 5 offense in the country for both of those teams. And it doesn't do that without Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett was a fucking winner, and I love Stetson Bennett. I still think they should build him a statue.
Yeah. Jackson said Wisconsin, Drake, Florida, SMU, Michigan State, Ohio, and I'm waiting for Minnesota one to come. Which one do you want, Jackson? Which team do you want to come? Like, where do you want to go? I'm just asking.
If you had to pick those today, Jackson, which ones? I mean, because let's be honest, you've got, that's a good list. That's a hell of a list right there. I mean, Tom Izzo, a Hall of Famer. I mean, they're making some noise in Maui. I think it's Maui right now. Florida is always going to be a contender. Wisconsin has a rich history. They're kind of down now. Personally, I like Drake. They're a fun program to watch. Ohio, I don't know a lot about. And what else did you have? Minnesota, I mean, I don't know much about Minnesota outside, Tubby Smith coached there. They had some success, but as far as historically, I'm not real sure on the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, but shoot us over, Jackson, where you want to go. We're just curious. Let's see here.
Don't take this like, we're not going to put any content. Oh, hey, this guy said this. We're just
No, we're just asking.
On a Tuesday night bullshit, we're just curious about what you're looking at, because that's a pretty good list, man.
User said Alabama can't beat Oklahoma. You're right. We couldn't beat Oklahoma this year. We just couldn't. I don't know what else to say. The team is certainly talented enough to beat Oklahoma. Milroe threw it away. O-line didn't block it. Didn't block for him at all. Defense is nothing but Swiss cheese. This team is the most inconsistent football team I've ever seen. And at the end of the day, it's not good enough to play in the SEC. So Kalen DeBoer's got his work cut out from this offseason. I'll give you that right now. So Kia said Kirby was impressive even before he won his first championship. Coach Cochran put him over the edge at UConn. That was at you. Let's see here. And Card said
trash. I can't argue. I mean, he didn't stay healthy, but I mean, I could show you a hellacious collection I have of Jacob Eason autos. I mean, number one, I'm not a Colts fan, but I really thought he would be better in the NFL than he was as far as Eason. I mean, I think Fromm actually lasted longer than Eason did.
So Jackson said he wants to go to Minnesota. Hey, man, congratulations. I hope you get the opportunity to. I really do. So we lost by, let's see here.
Where are you from? Is that close to you, Jackson, or is that just, I'm just curious, like where you're located right now, not too specific, obviously. I mean, we're on the internet, but I mean, that'd be awesome, man. I hope you don't forget us little guys when you're, when you're D1 athlete. Come in there and hang out with us. We'll still talk to you. We love college basketball.
He said, Alabama's my dream school because of the coaches and the facilities. Hey, man, you need to call Nate Oates, buddy. We'll call Nate Oates for you. We'll call Nate Oates.
Rick Barnes, a living legend, but Nate Oates is that he's that dude coming up
right now.
I can't blame you at all.
Yeah.
He's from Minneapolis. I get it, man. Hometown. I get it. Staying close, ripping your state.
But 100%, like when you're sitting there talking about, like in terms of Alabama didn't beat Oklahoma, we were this, that, and the other. Yeah, we sucked, man. I don't know what else you want me to say. We sucked, and we didn't rank us in 13th. The playoff committee did. So we'll have a chance to beat Auburn this weekend, and that's all we need to focus on doing. Just beating Auburn. We beat Auburn. That'll be fine for me. Let's see here.
How do you feel about Michigan having unlimited NIL funds? I mean, what about Michigan's unlimited?
Okay.
I mean,
I'm going to say this again. No one has unlimited funds. No one has unlimited funds.
If I was to say unlimited, in my opinion, is not a big fan, but probably Texas and that oil money. I A&M and that oil money. SMU. I mean, I hate to say it, but SMU, that they got the death penalty once for this. Now it's in their wheelhouse.
But Jordan, it used to be a couple $1,000s here and there, handshakes, cars, things like that. We're talking millions now, millions of dollars.
Oh, I agree.
No one's going to put out that kind of money unlimitedly to be a loser. Money. Yeah, you got to win.
What are you doing, son?
I'm trying to do this, but I don't know.
Anyway, Riddle, let's throw this at you here. What's y'all's opinion on Florida football team with DJ Lagway?
A lot better than
you're muted, Riddle. You're muted, Riddle. There you go.
I was just going to say, I think they got a bright future with him at quarterback. The last couple of months, they've really played some good football and won some big games. So,
no, don't worry about it. Are you ready to go to bed? Can we turn your show on?
I was trying to find Jordan's meme from earlier for Tony.
What's that?
I was trying to find your meme from earlier for Tony.
Oh, I'll send it again. Don't worry.
I ain't got it again.
It's in a group chat, I think.
Oh. Anyway, yeah, but we got to remember that. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's in the group chat.
I'm not
come through.
I'm not going to lie. We probably would have lost if he didn't get injured. Who's he talking about?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
I'm losing sight because I took my mind off of it.
Are you talking about Easton Swaggy?
Just remember, guys, I don't care who they have as backers. It's not unlimited. They're going to expect results. Yeah. They're going to expect results, and when you don't produce, that money will dry up. It's not going to be unlimited. I promise.
I mean, I promise you, Underwood, $12.5 million. If that dude comes in and absolutely flops, you won't see Michigan offer anybody else $12.5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be based on what the current guy does at the price point. I mean, they're not going to just keep throwing money at the problem.
Yeah, I mean, and then you also got teams like Georgia, who I'll use Georgia as an example. People are going to take less money to go play for a team like Georgia. They're going to take less money to go play for a team like them, to develop them, get them to the league. And, that market's going to ebb and flow. But at the same time, if you think Georgia's going to go out there and write a blank check, Kirby's already said he's not going to do that. He's not going to go write a blank check to somebody. If you want to play for Georgia.
Drew, I'll be honest with you. I mean, Oregon has deep pockets. Phil Knight says he wants to see a title before he dies. I mean, he's come out and said that.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, unlimited is
a big word. Yeah, it's a big
word. People, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, people don't realize what they mean when they say unlimited. I mean, Ohio State this year spent $20 million on their roster. You're going to be hard pressed to find a team that spends more. I mean, at least right now, unless Ohio State proves that, hey, they run through the playoffs and they gut everybody and win every game by 2 touchdowns plus, then people say, hey, a $20 million roster is the way to go. If they get beat in the second round, third round, final game, if they lose the game, people can say, well, it's not how much you spend, it's who you spend it on, which I'm still a believer of, Jimmy's and Joe's over X's and O's. Yeah. I mean, the guy that'll come to you for an extra $300,000 may not be the guy that fits your culture. There might be a better guy out there willing to take a little less to play for a Kirby Smart, to play for, a Kalen DeBoer, to play for a Steve Sarkisian, to play for a Lincoln Riley. I know Tony would hate that, analogy, but I mean, there's still going to be a certain amount of loyalty to some of these programs, and your family, history has been tied to some of these programs over years, especially, guys playing at the same place that their father and their grandfather played at. Just getting paid will be a bonus to a certain extent. I mean, not for obviously the top 10, 15, 20, 50 guys. It'll all be about the money. But.
All right. Hey, I'm about to have to wrap it up. I got to go take a pain pill. But with that said, this is probably the comment of the night. I think it is. I think it's a good one. Kias on the Purple said, I want Riddle to teach me something because he looks like a teacher of the year. Love you, Riddle. And it's got a picture of Bob Ross.
Nice.
Bob Ross. I don't think I've ever heard you referred to as looking like a teacher, but I'll take that. I'll take that.
What'd you say, Jordan?
That Adon does the voice throw on Call of Duty. Pastor Pato, you're the pastor. Can you teach me something?
All right.
Hey, go Dogs, Slaggy. Go Dogs.
Tony.
Back in.
Tony. Do we need to send you the meme again?
No, he said
no. He saw it. Look at him. He saw it.
Tony texts back and said, "He's on the way, dear."
Help is on the way, dear. Oh my God. Anyway, Tony, we're about to just wrap up. So, with that said,
hang out. I'm gonna go live in a second. And I had you and Jeff back in. Just I know Brandon's he's hurting, but
I gotta go.
We might keep this going for another hour or so if you're down.
All right, guys. Hey, I'll see y'all soon. See you next time.